So welcome back to the 6th chapter for the digital Khusus. This time we'll be looking at some additional rules that you have to obey in the library grounds, in the PSS, which this also includes the APD room. So the first one, as we mentioned earlier in other chapters, you cannot bring any food, drinks, your bag, and file into the library. Usually we would let file pass because students keep their things in files. So it depends on an exception. It depends. So B, of course, you can't make noises, you can't talk, and alike in the library. As you probably already know why by now. C, after taking any books from the shelf, you have to put them back to where they originally was after reading them or after using them. And D, because the library is a public space, you can't draw, you can't vandalize on any of the tables, the seats, the walls, and of course the floor. You can't vandalize the library because that would also go against the school rules. Moving on, you have to always take care of the cleanliness of the library, whether you are a student or a librarian or anyone, because it is again a public space, so it is also your responsibility to keep it clean. There are provided dustbins or rubbish bins at the side of the library, so if you see any rubbish like crumpled papers, please just pick them up and throw them into the rubbish bin. And F, of course, books are fragile. People can just tear them and they would be broken and unreadable. So which is why it is our job, our responsibility to make sure that we don't do that. We have to take care of the books and everything else, not just the books, such as the public pen, the tables, the seats. We have to use them nicely and we don't want to break them so they can last longer. And G, if you break or lose any of the things that belongs to the library, such as books, tools, or facilities and furniture, you are eligible to pay back, either, for example, the same book or in cash. And H, if you borrow a book from the library, you are given a week of time to return it back, a week or less. So if you do not return that book in time, or anyone does not return the book in time, they have to pay 10 cents extra for each day that they are late. And again, if they lose the book or if they break the book, they have to either pay in cash as in the price of the book, or they have to buy a brand new book of the exact same copy, obviously. And you might be wondering, what about Saturdays and Sundays or holidays? Those days do count as late if you do not pay them back. So for an example, you have 7 days to return a book. So Saturdays and Sunday do count into those 7 days. And if you would like to extend your book as anyone, doesn't matter who you are, a student, a librarian, or a teacher, you may extend by a week. But you will have to talk to a librarian and let them know so they can record it and make sure to not charge you when you do return the book late or in the future. And I, if you are borrowing a book, you have to bring the book to the counter of the library so that a librarian can help you process the book and record it. Otherwise, it would just be stealing books from the library. And J, a student or anyone basically can only borrow or return books during the time where there are librarians who are active and sitting at the counter of the library so that they can record and help you check out or check in the book that you borrowed. And K, before borrowing any books to anyone, we have to make sure, we as the librarians have to make sure that the books are processed and rubbed and chopped, basically processed. Or in other words, so that the books is eligible to be borrowed. So in other words, if it's not recorded, if it's not processed, then the book cannot be borrowed. And lastly, we have the duty timetable for an average librarian. So you have 5 days a week, and then you have 2 sessions. You have the afternoon session and then you have the morning session. And this is where you fill your names. And then you will be given a time and your break time, who the other librarians are also on the same duty day as you. And obviously this is not final, every year it's going to change, but this is sort of like how a normal timetable would look like. So that's it for this chapter. I will see you in the next chapter.